Hey, and welcome. This is Bjørn Jacobsen from Cujo Sound, and I'm here today with my friend from work.
No, it's me, Max Perez, and I'm from the Level Design Lobby, and we're here for a special episode.
Yeah, we're going to be dissecting A Way Out. I run my regular Game Audio Talk channel, and you run your Level Design Lobby, and we're not trying to review the game. We just want to play through it and look at the features, trying to see if we can figure out how did they solve various issues from both a level design and a sound design perspective. It's going to be really interesting.
Yeah, this is exciting for us. Bjorn hasn't played Brother's Tale of Two Sons, but I was a huge fan of it, so this is what's got me into A Way Out. And we both think it's a very interesting game to look at, like from a level design perspective, with two players encountering the same levels or like different parts of the same level, and then going through the different environments and the different sounds. I think it'll provide for you and your audience as well. Yeah,
we're also going to try to see how do they work with the cooperation between game, level, and sound design, and how are they going to guide the players, how so on. Because we've from what I've read, this isn't a game that you normally would play twice. You play through it and then you sort of know the story. And that's going to be really interesting, because will they then guide you through a specific result or a story? How's that going to work out for them? That'll be really interesting to see. And let's get to it.
Yep.
Hey, Vincent, what's your plan after this?
I don't know. Haven't really thought about it.
You haven't thought about it? That must be a first for you, Mr. Overthinker.
There's a difference between overthinking things and being smart, Leo.
A Way Out jumps right into the story. It's clear that our expectations of narrative and co-op gameplay are high. The questions that arise before we even start playing from a sound design perspective is, how are they dealing with the fact that you will always be in split screen, but that the settings will involve both of us at the same time? Will they use dual cameras? Will they use two audio listeners? Are they placed on the camera, or are they placed on the actual player? What if we both engage in dialogue at the same time? Or what if we stray away from each other? Will that break up our sound design and soundscape ecology?
From a level design perspective, the one thing that I'm really interested in is how that we as players are going to communicate and move through this same space. Are we going to be able to go through different areas when separated, or are we limited to the same space as players together? This is what I'm really interested in from a level design perspective. Straight away, as we players take over the characters, we can see how the level reflects different moods and different statuses in these characters as well. Me, as Vincent, I'm in the lower ground, just being shepherded in by the police, while whoever is in control of Leo can see from a higher vantage point, almost looking down on Vincent, showing who's in command, who has advantage and understanding of this space compared to Vincent, who knows nothing. He is feeling small and weak, and is clearly being observed by the other players. Another thing that I like is, although that we are separated, we're also interacting with one another. We might not be communicating right away, however, what we are doing is seeing each other, and that is the first kind of experience that the players have.
So already here we have an interesting sound solution, because it's clear that even though Vincent has left the area and started walking indoor and into a hallway and further into the prison, we can still hear the walla from the outside character Leo. So apparently, no muffling, filtering, or panning is being used to handle this kind of situation.
Okay? What do you want?
Vincent also starts a dialogue, which is audible to both players. This is obviously the only way to deal with it.
You think I'm a pussy?
This is somewhat surprising because the developer has explicitly said that they would prefer players to play in this format, Split screen
sure you
over
do.
online
Good luck.
gameplay where this sort of problem would be eliminated. One of the biggest debates they must have had during the development of this game must have been how dialogue should be categorized. In this case, dialogue is muffled on the screen on the right.
One of the things I really liked this level design here is where they highlight to the player where they need to go next. As you can see on the right hand side, we have nice framing from these two pillars as it's showing you the police officer that we need to talk to as Vincent. What I also like is the amount of lighting they have, this beautiful light source compared to the area on the left, which is dim and grey, and showing and leading the players where to go. Also, the railings are using as a nice focal line, again, drawing the player's eye in when playing.
Shit. I hate those.
We're now moving on to another
there
level,
worse things
which
to
I
worry
really
about?
enjoyed, a nice segment of this, which is where both players kind of come together. It's the first cooperation puzzle that we see take place within the game. The players have just escaped from a prison brawl in which you both help each other out in the combat. But now,
Yeah.
both these characters want to communicate with one another in order to solve the puzzle that we'll see in a second.
Okay, I'll distract the nurse.
Now, what I really like about this is the environment, because players are going to be separated soon, which we're about to see in the video, and they're about to gain a different perspective
What can I do
of
for you?
each area. But what's really nice about this is the windows between them, so the player can always keep an eye on where each other is, as well as the obstacles
You
in
know
front
when
of
I'm
them.
getting out of here? Back to work.
Is that why you called me over?
Yeah, sorry. But I'm a bit bored here, you know?
Both players can constantly
It's not
hear
up
each
to you,
other.
but I'm sure you'll
Regardless
be
of
too.
how unrealistic this may be, it works really well.
Okay.
Even though, as a two-player game, we could just talk to each other when we're standing right next to each other. It also means that even if the players are not looking directly at each other, one can distract a guard by knocking on the window, while the other one can actually
That's
hear that
understandable.
as an audio cue and then progress in the game.
It's hot. Look what you made me do.
As I just mentioned previously as well, the player can always see each other through these windows, but what they do in order to create suspension is they block off certain windows as well, as you can see with blinds on certain sides, so that way players have to communicate.
Better head to the back.
And what I really like as well is that the camera view is also limited for one player, but giving more of a mobility for another player.
Yeah, I've got this terrible pain. I need something.
We have another situation here where simultaneous dialogue is possible.
Trust me.
And we don't know if it's either the latest one or a predetermined one that gets muffled because of importance.
And the smell.
Really?
Really?
Better hurry up. Okay. How about you help me distract our guard over there?
Listen,
The problem with this is that we don't know if a relevant message of gameplay might not come through
Hey,
because it's
my broom
being
is
muffled.
just stay here.
All right.
We're now moving on to one of my favourite parts of the prison level. This is really important because it's about communication, and it's how with the level design they've really encouraged communication between the players here. As you're about to see, why talking to one another is super
Got something
important.
special for you to read. Hope you like it.
Sure I will.
One of the interesting techniques that the level designers use is the camera perspective, because it's switched from kind of a third person to more of a fourth person, but it sticks you on a 180-degree axis. The players who's keeping observation must look between both sides of the corridor to make sure that they give their other partner enough time to stop before being caught. Another thing I like about this is this is only done when you enter into the gate view. If you're not in this, then it gives you a chance to communicate with the guard, or just more limits you. So it is about talking to one another and understanding what your role is.
You, go to sleep.
Yes, sir. Just gonna take a leak.
This is a perfect example of multisensory or cross-modal perception techniques, as it's also called. The ability to see the guard's flashlight combined with the ability to hear his footsteps gives us an almost godlike power in knowing where they are, what they're doing, when we can do what, and how we can proceed into the level.
Lights out.
Ready?
Yeah.
Okay.
An interesting technique that the level designers have used here in order to make the players feel as if they're kind of a rat in a claustrophobic area is they put pipes above the players, as well as changing the camera perspective so we're looking down on our characters, making them feel weak. One of the things I like about this section of the level is they show the problem first before giving the player the solution, so that we see the fan is constantly moving and we need to get past it by the light beaming from it.
Leo, I need some help here.
The sound of the fan is constantly playing, drawing subconscious attention to it. But the killer is actually the dialogue when you remove this next pipe. Even if you don't know what to do next, you're told with words that how to stop the fan, and you can't go wrong with dialogue.
Finally, something to stop the fan with.
One thing that I like about this area here is that there's multiple solutions in solving the problems here, giving players to find different ways in how they solve it. Another thing that they do here, like the previous example in the hospital ward, is they have a lot of windows. This way the players can constantly keep tabs on not only each other, but also the puzzles in front of them, allowing players to not only communicate verbally to one another, but also see it within the game space as well.
Read him and win. You cheated.
The game also provides nice gameplay elements and mechanics by combining the use of both sound and light. Like this scenario here where the sound of thunder is used to mask the sound of the door break-in, and timing becomes a factor in gameplay as well.
Hey, Vincent. Yeah. See that tower? Yeah. That's where we're heading. All right.
There we saw one of the most classic level design techniques with a weenie. We have the tower highlighting to players where they need to go, what is their objective. Now what we can see here though is how they guide players to move from the main objective, the tower, to the micro objectives and getting there. By using the blue tarp, they highlight a different colour in comparison to the grey and brown. Again, showing where the player should go by using light as well. So then we can see the players lifting each other up, highlighting with the levels how important communication and teamwork is in order to progress. Now what they do to subvert the player and this tower experience is, although that's your objective, it also comes with a risk with this searchlight. And in order to create tension, what the level designers have done is they've created these sort of moments where the player runs out of cover and has to find their next piece of cover. What I really like about this is the visual language they use, because there is no debris or rubbish or piles of leaves. There is only cover and non-cover, hinting to the players where they should move and can move, allowing for a nice tension to be built and a smooth transition of the players to understand the space.
Here's another interesting feature, which is a perfect example of how perceived silent actions is not always the more silent option. When sneaking in these bushes, you are invisible and inaudible to your enemy, but oddly enough, the bushes give up more sound than if you walk on bare land. classic example of how sound can be perceived in a situation as silent, even though it is not if you compared it A to B. The same thing is used in another rather new game, Horizon Zero Dawn, where the sound of the tall grass whenever you're hiding is actually louder when you're not hiding in it.
Just leave me alone.
We've now switched to a different environment where the players have now escaped. And I really wanted to talk about this store robbery, because it is really important here, because it's how they encourage exploration I thought was truly amazing. Because what they've done is it's a setup.
Whoa, hey.
Now, players can instantly start the robbery whenever they want, but if the player takes the time to actually study who is there and scout out the area, then it'll make sure that the robbery goes down much smoother than previous.
It won't happen again.
And what I also like about this is there's multiple characters that the players can talk to, but you might not always win the conversation, and what I mean by win is encourage those NPCs to leave.
Hey,
you get a second chance with your partner as well. As you just saw then, I was able to sabotage certain mechanics as well, such as the telephone and alarms. Again, making sure that players really understand how important exploration is in here, because it's that time and that reward for doing so.
Can I help you with something?
Hey, ma'am. I don't want to use this gun.
Now, as you can see, myself and Bjørn were not able to get this last guy out of this place, which has now become an extra risk for us, because now I've started the robbery. Now, if we were to play again, we might be able to get everyone to leave, meaning an even smoother operation.
In the back, isn't there?
And because of this, we now have to use our teamwork and again communication in order to make sure that no one escapes and no one gets hurt in this process.
There's a safe in the back. We should check it out.
Shut the fuck up and sit down.
Okay, we're good. Don't, please don't shoot me. It's okay.
Another thing that I really like about this is the subversion in this level. So now I've opened the door, I'm instantly attacked. We thought that because we'd scouted out the area and made our plans, that this place was safe, but we were wrong. And now things aren't going to plan, which is brilliant because now we have to react. Because this store clerk is about to try get a gun, and now we have to react because of this.
We need a combination. Hey, stay there. We need the combination.
I don't have it.
Stay there. I got the guys. Let's get out of here.
Joseph Fares, the game director of this game, is also known for some of his film performances. He's directed films such as Yalla Yalla and Cops, which are some of the best modern Swedish comedies to date. This ensures that the transition between the video game and the narrative and the film world is really, really ace.
Shit. Vincent, we need to get the hell out! There he is! The cops are here!
No shooting, we're in the hospital.
Okay,
The visual transitions and the sound transitions between single-player experience and the co-op experience is really well done.
This next sequence we're about to see is really important in creating tension here, because the players are in a high octane chase, and it's what the level designers do to help guide the player that's really nice. So as you can see, we're running up the stairs and we see some cops come out, and then we also have these pipes blocking them, showing that you shouldn't go there, and then also using bright lights to bust through the doors.
This transition here is one of the best examples of how to go from one single-player experience to another single-player experience. The split-screen game is right now a single-player experience, just switching between our experiences.
We don't want to give too much away about this corridor chase because it's a really well done sequence and we want you to experience it at its fullest. What we did notice partway through though is it has a nice gameplay and perspective switch, switching to a more sort of side-scroller beat 'em up, also giving a nod to what we believe is the corridor scene in the film Old Boy.
Understandable.
Thank you everyone for joining us on this really special episode. We had a great time making this. We finished the game about a couple of days ago and we really enjoyed it. So I hope you've enjoyed seeing what we kind of look at from a level design and an audio design perspective and see what we're constantly studying and learning from other games as well.
Yeah, and if you want to see more videos like this, you should fire away in the comments below and give us a suggestion about what game you would like to see analyzed, both from an audio design and from a level design perspective. Also, if you like this video, please consider subscribing, hit the like button, or subscribe on both of our Patreons, our YouTubes, our Twitters, our Instagrams, whatever social media, we're there. We're that meta.
That meta.
We're that meta. We're that modern. We're that teenage. Until next time, have a good one.
See you later, guys. Bye.
Yay! You can see stuff. I see stuff. Stuff. I see stuff. I see stuff.
I see stuff everywhere. Okay. Oh, thank you very much. No. Thank you very much, guys, for Thank you very much, everyone, for joining us on this special episode and seeing how. I was going nowhere. I was fucking going nowhere. Right, why did I get it first time the other one? But alright, fuck it. Alright, stand straight. I'm gonna do this now. Alright, okay. Talking about not only where they start with Vincent in a bus and Joel in the open space, but also on the levels that they're starting on. Vincent is on the lower floor, while Joel is up above, and
his name is Leo.